Hello once again, my beautiful people, and welcome to my floor. In this week's video, I was thinking of showing off my fairly sizable DVD and Blu-ray collection. So, as to why exactly I even have a physical media collection in the era of streaming is I'm really getting tired of streaming. Just the subscriptions, the predatory nature of getting out of said subscriptions, how they like to take off a lot of content, you always need an internet connection, it's just bleh. I'm getting really fed up with streaming, and so I've been slowly building up a collection of physical media for the past, let's say about 2.5 years now. So where I've been getting all of my physical pieces of media is through thrift stores primarily. Most people have been just dumping off all of their Blu-rays and all of their DVDs at these thrift stores, and I can usually pick them up for maybe like between 50 cents and $5 for each of them, depending on like if it's a box set, if it's a singular movie, the condition, all that stuff. And everybody's been dumping off their physical media because of streaming. And physical media is still kind of in that niche where it's like too old to be current, but still a bit too new to be cool. So it's in that niche, so now's like the perfect time to go get physical media. So the first film we got here is Bruce Almighty, featuring Jim Carrey. I've actually never seen this movie, I still have yet to watch it. I heard really good things about this one, and for some reason this is one of those films that I just see at like every single thrift store. But I've been a fan of Jim Carrey since like his Ace Ventura days, so yeah, I still haven't checked it out yet, but I've actually been meaning to. So this next one's kind of a bit of a double feature. This is the 50th anniversary edition of Disney's Sleeping Beauty. So this one's actually from my childhood. I've had this forever. I'm not even sure when this came out, to be honest. I want to say sometime in the 2000s. Oh, hang on, I found a date. Can't really read that because iPhone cameras, but it says, oh, there it goes, 2008. So, yep, I've had this since about 2008 or so, and it is both the Blu-ray of the film, I think if I remember correctly, completely remastered in HD, as well as a bonus DVD disc. So, yep, have not watched this probably since it was new, but just pretty neat that I have like two versions of like the same movie. Next up, we have the DVD version of Catch Me If You Can. So this is a film that came out, I think 2002 or 2003, that I actually first saw in school, believe it or not. We did like a film day, and we watched this movie, and I actually haven't seen it since. That was like back in high school, so over 5 years ago, but I remember enjoying the movie, so I'll have to give this another watch at some point. Next one might be a bit nostalgic for a lot of people who grew up in the 2000s. This is part of the Scholastic Video Collection. Specifically, this is Harold and the Purple Crayon and more Harold stories. So for those of you who probably either weren't alive during this time or barely remember it, the Scholastic Video Collection was a series of Scholastic books, like kids' books specifically, that were animated and were narrated usually by some sort of celebrity or by the author of the book themselves. I watched these so much as a kid, and this is actually one of my childhood ones. And so the stories that are featured on here are Harold and the Purple Crayon, A Picture for Harold's Room, Harold's Fairy Tale, The Mysterious Tadpole, Drummer Hoff, and Smile for Auntie. So these things are super nostalgic. I absolutely love these Scholastic Video Collections. I had more of these. I had a whole box set of these as a kid, but some of them have gone MIA over the years, but yeah, and I just love the purple. Like, each of these cases have a different color, and I just love the purple. So yeah. Next up, we have a double disc collector's edition for The Incredibles, aka the best Pixar film. Yeah, go ahead and debate me in the comments about that. So, The Incredibles is, like, in case I haven't made it clear, my favorite Pixar film currently. Well, there is some competition, of course. And this is a double disc version, so a 2-disc version. Includes a full screen and a widescreen version, which was very common from, like, ye olden days of TVs before, like, flat screen LED TVs were common. Hell, LED TVs weren't even available at the time. This one also includes some special bonus features, such as a short film known as Jack Jack Attack. There's Jack Jack challenges Kari the Babysitter, and there's also the short film Bouncin', and some fun bloopers, because remember when Pixar used to do bloopers in their films? I love this film. I just watched it again recently when I didn't have internet, and it still is amazing after all these years. So yeah. Next up, we have discs. I know it says disc 1 and 2, it's actually discs 2 and 3 of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. This show, if you haven't seen it, is hilarious. And, like, as someone who was raised in Philly, is actually one of the most accurate depictions of Philly people. I mean, yeah, it's exaggerated, of course, but, yes, Philly people really are jerks to each other until someone becomes jerks to them, and they're like, whoa, no. Like, I love Always Sunny. Like I said, I was raised in Philly, so, like, having this is awesome. Although, here, it's not actually discs 1 and 2. Allow me to prove it. I'm actually not sure where disc 1 went, but it only came with discs 2 and 3, so I want to get the whole series at some point, but given that it's just starting its, like, 17th season, that's gonna be easier said than done. Next up is Clerks 2, the 2-disc widescreen edition. So, I haven't seen this movie yet. I have seen Clerks 1, and I have seen Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, as well as Clerks Animated, but I haven't seen this one yet. Allow me to go on a little bit of a tangent here. Remember how I said I was getting fed up with streaming? The entire View Askew universe is proof as to why streaming sucks. So, these films that are produced by Kevin Smith are owned by the Weinstein Company, or at least the distribution rights are owned by the Weinstein Company. It's a whole cluster of a mess. Anyway, but the problem is the Weinstein Company cannot or will not issue out the rights to stream any of these movies or any of the shows or anything relating to the View Askewverse on, like, streaming services, and thus finding any of Kevin Smith's films are ridiculously hard because you can only watch them through either DVD releases, or if you're lucky, you might be able to find it on something like iTunes, but it's a whole mess, and in case you need any proof why I really am starting to hate streaming. But yeah, Clerks 2, haven't seen it yet, definitely on my watch list. Speak of the devil, next one is the Collector's Series for Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I have seen this. This film is hilarious. Like, this movie is so funny. Like, I love it so much, but I haven't seen it in a long time. But this was another case of a film that cannot be streamed, at least I'm not aware that it can be streamed anywhere, because the industry really fucked over View Askew, and I just... As somebody who's a fan of Clerks Animated, it just pisses me off. But yeah, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, and probably one of the weirdest looking DVD cases I've seen. Great film, although I haven't seen it in a while. Here's some nostalgia for all you 90s kids. This is Volume 1 of Pinky and the Brain. This contains 22 episodes from the original run of the show, and out of all the Spielberg cartoons, I think this one is the one that I watched the least growing up. The one I mainly remember and have the most nostalgia for is definitely Freakazoid, and in my opinion, out of all the Spielberg cartoons, that one is the best. But I mean, they're all amazing in their own right. And it's just neat to have this because, like, these kinds of Spielberg cartoons, like the Pinky and the Brain, Pinky Elmira and the Brain, and all the smaller ones, you almost never see on streaming. Hell, the only one I've seen on streaming is Animaniacs, and that's just because of the Hulu cartoon, so it's cool to hold a piece of 90s nostalgia, even if I wasn't alive in the 90s. Speaking of stuff that'd be hella nostalgic, this is Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Roderick Rules, the second of the live-action trilogy movies. And I actually got to see this film in theaters back in the day, as somebody who was a huge fan of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books, and still am a fan, actually. This film was actually good. Like, really good. I was surprised. I think I saw this when I was like 9 or 10 years old, and I just remember loving it. Like, I love the books, and it's pretty faithful to the books, I'd say. At least somewhat faithful. And, yeah, like, I rewatched these, I think, last year, and they still hold up. Minus the very early 2010s fashion choices, but, you know what? Those are starting to become cool again, so, yeah. Go give this a watch. 'Tis good. So next up is a show that I've only just started getting into. This is the complete third season of Scrubs. Now, this is a show I think I've only seen the first season of so far. This was a little bit before my time, but I remember my brothers watched this show a ton growing up. So I just now started getting into it myself, and yeah, I've actually been enjoying it a lot. If you're unfamiliar, Scrubs is a sort of like medical comedy show about these like interns like dealing with being interns, or is it residents? I forget. Interns or residents at a hospital, and it's just like kind of the goofy, exaggerated adventures of like what they end up getting into. And the guy in charge, who's a D-bag. Yeah, I haven't seen the third season yet. This box is really fun, although the slipcover on there is a bitch to get off, but yeah, fun show so far. I've only seen season 1, so I gotta catch up. Next up we have is SpongeBob, Nautical Nonsense and Sponge Buddies. This is a compilation disc from about 2002, so right at the height of SpongeBob here, and it contains 10 stories, 10 episodes that are super iconic. So we have Ripped Pants, SB-129, Texas, The Graveyard Shift, Something Smells, Jellyfishing, Dying for Pie, Wormy, Fun, and Club SpongeBob, all of which are iconic episodes in their own right. And again, it's just really cool to hold a piece of nostalgia in my hands. Next one is another show that I just kind of started getting into. This is the complete second season of Curb Your Enthusiasm. This show I just started getting into not too long ago. Same thing, it was a little bit before my time, but it's pretty great. It almost kind of feels like a, how do I explain? Like a scripted reality show, I suppose. If you've ever seen something like Arrested Development, it's like that, basically. And so this is the complete second season, so it's got 10 episodes. This is really hard to do one-handed. Give me one sec. Okay, got it. So it has 10 episodes on here. There's The Car Salesman, Thor, Trick or Treat, The Shrimp Incident, which is a great name for an episode, The Thong, The Acupuncturist, The Doll, which is probably my favorite episode out of this collection, Shack, Baptism, and The Massage. So, yep, pretty cool, pretty cool. Next up we have is the Princess Bride 20th Anniversary Collection, still sealed, by the way. I have seen this movie probably like 2 or 3 times, and the first time I've actually seen it, I didn't like it. I didn't care for it, really. I thought it was kind of boring. But then I had to watch it again for a film class, and I'm like, I don't know what the hell I was thinking. This movie's awesome. And the cool thing is, if you look at the cover, the way that the font is and the way the picture is, if you flip it over, again, this is hard to do one-handed, flip it over, and it says The Princess Bride 20th Anniversary Collector's Edition on both sides. It's pretty neat. You cannot do that on the back, though. But yeah, fantastic movie. Like, still sealed. I just haven't watched this copy yet, but I have seen this movie at least twice. We got another one in the Scholastic Video Collection. This one is Miss Nelson Has a Field Day, and Miss Nelson is back. And yep, so similar to the Harold and the Purple Crayon, this one is retellings with limited animation of the iconic stories of Miss Nelson. Specifically, again, Miss Nelson is Back, which is the first one, and Miss Nelson Has a Field Day, which is the second one. There's also some bonus stories. There's Panama, The Three-Legged Cat, and The Bear and the Fly. And it's all packaged in this lovely blue case. So this next one is one that I actually haven't seen yet, but a lot of like film buffs really seem to love it. This is the digitally remastered version of Stanley Kubrick's A Clockwork Orange. I don't know why there's a Y on here, but yep, I haven't seen this film. I kind of vaguely know what it's about, but I haven't actually watched it. I feel like a lot of people are familiar with this scene where the main character, Alex, literally has his eyes held open and is like subjected to all these videos to make him normal. It's just Jesus. But yeah, like I've heard this is like a really iconic, fantastic film. I haven't actually seen it yet, but I'll watch this probably at some point. Speaking of Stanley Kubrick films, next one, this one I have actually seen, is Full Metal Jacket, a film about war. Yeah, I haven't watched this movie in years, but I remember this being really good. And if you ever hear me yell something akin to, what was it? Oh, what is your major malfunction, numbnuts? If you ever hear me yell that, it comes from this movie. Another iconic film that I actually had no idea was even done by Stanley Kubrick, to be honest. I just now noticed this when I was looking at the cover. But yeah, great film. Perhaps maybe a bit dated in some of the scenes. If you've seen this movie, I think you know which one I'm talking about. But yeah, still a great film. Next up we have is probably currently my favorite non-Pixar Disney movie, which is Wreck-It Ralph. So this is supposed to be a 4-disc collector's edition, however, only the Blu-ray and the Blu-ray 3D are in here. The DVD and digital copy are missing, but I don't care, I really just want the Blu-ray. Yes, I said this is my favorite, like, non-Pixar Disney film, and I've seen this movie, no joke, at least 5 times. It's just, I feel like it just kind of came out at the right time for me. I'm not going to go into drastic detail, but 2012 was, like, one of the worst years of my life. And so, seeing something that still has a lot of quality, that kind of catered to me when I was like 10, 11 years old, just starting to get into gaming, I don't know, it just kind of became sort of a comfort movie for me. Something that I'll come back to every couple of years and be like, oh, I should rewatch this again because I'm depressed. It's still great. And it has a really fantastic twist villain. And yeah, the fun part is I can actually watch it in 3D because my mom has a 3D TV and a Blu-ray 3D player that we used a grand total of 1 time for Sin City, and it was like 10 seconds. But, I mean, if I wanted to watch it in 3D, I could. Next up we have is the 2005 Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I actually haven't seen this version yet. I have watched the 1971 original, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, but I have not seen this one yet. I've heard pretty mixed things. Some people love it, some people don't. I know it's done by Tim Burton, so it's definitely an edgier interpretation of the film. Or book, whatever. But, yeah, I haven't watched this yet, but I want to, since I like a lot of Tim Burton's other works. Speaking of Arrested Development, here is the complete Season 1 for Arrested Development. Now, this is a show I actually watched, like, during COVID, and really enjoyed it, actually. Up until Season 4. Once Netflix brought the show back, it just lost all of its qualities and everything that made it so fun in the first place. So, yeah. Now I get to watch this without a Netflix subscription. Because screw you, Netflix. And not just for ruining Arrested Development, for taking off a lot of shows, for being expensive, a lot of things. So, yep. I remember Season 2 being better, personally, but, like, the show is still great. Again, if you like stuff like Curb Your Enthusiasm, you'll love this. Next up, we have a film that I actually think is quite underrated and is currently my second favorite non-Pixar Disney film, and that is Meet the Robinsons, in this nice, shiny case. This is a movie I actually didn't see in theaters when it was new. I only got a chance to see this when I bought this DVD about 2 years ago, and God, the fact that this movie does not get more attention is just criminal. It's so good. It's so good. God damn it, the ending of this makes me cry, like, every time I watch it. Every single freaking time. It's weird. I actually saw this film start to get popular again because somebody actually cracked the timeline of this film. Well, the film / the games that went with it. I can't remember the name of the user on TikTok, but I know Ellis Mark made a video on this recently, so go check that video out. But yeah, this is a movie that just needs more attention. It's so underrated. Here's a movie that could never be made again. This is Jackass the Movie, the special collector's edition. So, I doubt there's too many people who are unfamiliar with what Jackass was, but basically, it was these dinguses who would do a bunch of pranks and stunts kind of before the era of, like, viral videos on YouTube. And these are hilarious. Like, these are so batshit insane. I love them. I got a chance to see Jackass when I was about 11 or so. My mom's old roommate showed this to me, and I just thought it was the funniest thing ever. And, so yeah, this was actually one of the first movies I got in my collection, back in, like, 2022, 2023, and I just love it. It's so early 2000s. Like, this kind of stuff you could not do on TV anymore or on streaming. I mean, other than the fact that everyone here is getting old, but I mean more so just these kind of stunts being put on, like, TV, streaming. All the conservative parents are gonna come out and start bitching about their kids wanting to do Jackass, instead of, actually parenting their kids or having a fucking brain. Next up, another piece of film history we have is The Godfather Part 1, aka the first of the 3 Godfather films. And yeah, this film is, like, often considered one of the best movies ever made, including by my dad, who, let's just say he was super excited the day that I was finally old enough to actually watch this movie, and he had to keep pausing it and explaining things. Yeah, it's just such an iconic movie. So much happens. I absolutely love The Godfather Part 1. Part 2 is good too, although Part 1 and Part 2 are actually based on the same book, which is the first Godfather book. Part 3 sucks. I'm not afraid to admit it. Part 3 is absolutely terrible, but yeah, Part 1, in my opinion, is the best one, but Part 2 is good too. This one's probably one of the most eye-catching films I have in my collection. This is the 10th anniversary of Reservoir Dogs. This was the first film done by Quentin Tarantino, and yeah, I still really like this film, although it definitely makes me uncomfortable. Anyone who's seen this movie, there's only 2 words that I need to tell you to make you feel uncomfortable. Ear scene. If you know, you know. Anyway, this is specifically the Mr. Pink version, hence why it's in this neon fluorescent pink. And again, this is hard to do one-handed. Just give me 1 second. It opens up and it gives you like a little factoid about Mr. Pink. There's the actor who played him, Steve Buscemi. Got his real name, his job, a little bit of his profile. Over here are some quotes. Just gonna tell you, this movie has not aged the best. I still think it's a classic, but there are a shocking number of times that the N-word is dropped. Specifically, the hard ER word was dropped. I know this was filmed in like the late 80s, early 90s, but that just makes me feel very uncomfortable. Again, and ear scene, but iconic movie, but maybe has not aged the best. Guess what? We're only halfway done. Oh, jeez. Alright, next one is a film that I've actually been a little bit too scared to watch. This is Paranormal Activity 2, the unrated director's cut. So, I'm not really a big fan of horror movies usually. I feel like a lot of these rely too heavily on jump scares, instead of like being more psychologically scary. And to me, that just makes a movie feel cheap and kind of boring. As for why I'm scared to watch this, when I was like 7, 8 years old, my mom invited one of her friends over and they marathoned all 3 of the Paranormal Activity movies. And I was trying to stay away from this because, I was a little kid. I didn't do well with horror films back then. And I managed to catch a few minutes of this when these 2 grown adult women were screaming their heads off, and I was just so scared, and I've been too scared to watch this. I really want to watch this for Halloween, though, but I'm a little nervous about that. Brings back some childhood trauma. Next up is another film that I actually mentioned earlier. This is Ace Ventura: Pet Detective, the first one. This was a movie I haven't watched since I was like 6 years old, visiting my great-grandfather before he passed. Like, my parents would go see him, like, he was basically on his deathbed. He was old, and he had really aggressive cancer, and so they were sitting with him, and I'm just sitting in front of the TV, being like 6, not understanding what the hell's going on, watching this movie. So this brings back weird memories. But I haven't seen it since, so it's been a while. I've heard a lot of people recently accuse this film of being transphobic. I'm not really sure why that's the case. Again, I haven't watched this since I was 6, so I'll have to watch it again and see, but I remember enjoying this one. Now for some more edutainment nostalgia, we have Sid the Science Kid, Sid's Backyard Campout. As a little kid, I was obsessed with Sid the Science Kid, which I even contribute the show to being part of the reason I actually have been pursuing a STEM field for, like, a degree, you know, that being general biology, is that this show and Fetch with Rough Ruffman kind of sparked my interest in, like, general sciences and stuff. Even though I was always interested in stuff like biology, but I just wasn't super interested in learning too much about, like, bio until I saw this show all the way back in, like, 2008, and Fetch with Rough Ruffman, and it's just great. I had to have a copy of one of these just for nostalgia's sake. I don't really know what's on here, actually. Ugh, this is hard to do down here. In terms of, like, what episodes are on here. I'm not 100% sure. But, like I said, just really nostalgic show for me. It was also one of the games that I played on PBS Kids' website where I learned that you actually have muscles in your ears and that some people can wiggle them. I cannot. Alright. On the opposite end of the spectrum, we have another Quentin Tarantino film, this one being Inglourious Bastards, which is, like, my dad's favorite movie. I have not seen this movie in so long. The only thing I can really recall from it is, like, one of the first scenes is Hitler just yelling no constantly, you know, 9999999, you know, that one? That's the only thing I really remember. It's been a while, I think since before COVID that I watched this movie. But again, like, Tarantino's a pretty talented film director. Total weirdo IRL, but yeah, I need to rewatch this movie. So out of my whole collection, this one is actually the only one that I picked up from a yard sale. This is the 25th anniversary edition of The Blues Brothers. I actually haven't seen this movie. I only know of this because, like, my mom was telling me she likes this film. There was a scene where they drove through an abandoned mall that they fixed up to make it not look abandoned. And good old Dan Aykroyd here, I believe, if I remember correctly, is mostly known for his Crystal Skull vodka. But, yeah, I haven't seen this movie yet, and it's got one of the weirdest disc designs I've ever seen. Let me see. Show you. See? There's, like, nothing on it. Also, there's the iPhone that's filming this mess. But see, there's, like, absolutely nothing on it. It just has a ring that just says The Blues Brothers. Strangest disc design I've seen. Here's another childhood Blu-ray, this one being Toy Story 3. This one very much showing its age, because down here it says HD picture, HD sound for HD TVs. This was back when having, like, an HD TV was, like, considered a luxury. Because this came out in, like, 2010, so this was, like, the early days of HD TVs. And look at here. Plays, oh, that's an N. The printing is a little bit weird on here. It's, like, double printed. It says, plays on Blu-ray players and PlayStation 3. If this does not date this film, I don't know what does. So this was a movie that I did see in theaters back in the day, but I didn't really care for it that much back then. But I saw it again recently, and I really like it, actually. It's a really good film. It's definitely not as good as Toy Story 1 or even 2, but I think this was a really good conclusion to the series. Why the hell did Pixar make Toy Story 4, and why are they making Toy Story 5? Oh wait, I know why. It's these idiots. These guys here. Blame Disney. They're ruining Pixar. Just take a look at what happened to Elio. Next movie we have is ignore the sticker up there, The Wolf of Wall Street. Pretty iconic film here. This is a 3-disc pack, although the digital HD is missing. It's just the Blu-ray and the DVD. Yeah, I saw this movie about 2 years ago when I was taking a train. And, yeah, this was great. This was great. I haven't watched it since. I need to rewatch it. This is kind of interesting. I noticed on the bottom here it has this digital HD ultraviolet. So, back before streaming films was commonplace, you used to have an extra disc that would come in some of these special editions, this digital HD. Basically, you would take that disc and you can use that to copy the film onto a device. So it shows here, you could do a TV, a computer, a tablet, or a smartphone. You could also do, like, certain MP3 players if you had a compatible one. And the idea is that disc was not copy protected, or at the very least didn't have the same copy protection as the actual DVD or Blu-ray. and thus you could copy that onto other devices and watch it on the go without needing the disc, or watch it on devices that don't have disc players. Yeah, that was thoroughly destroyed by streaming, but it's just neat to see like these little relics of the past here. Next up we have is WALL-E, the 3-disc special edition. This is another like fantastic movie, and this is actually a film I've been seeing a lot of people reference recently in terms of us becoming like over-reliant on things like AI and us getting lazier and lazier with each generation, and it's just sad that we're kind of slowly moving into a WALL-E type dystopian future where all of humanity is put on a ship and Earth is completely thrashed. This is still an amazing movie, by the way. So this one actually does have all 3 discs. So it also has stuff like there's Burn E for President, which is a little short. There's Presto, another theatrical short, as well as a few other bonus features, like there's some bloopers, deleted scenes, you know, the usual guff. And down here, remember how I was talking about that digital copy thing? Well, here's Disney's version of it, with the old-ass iTunes and Windows Media Player things. Also, something interesting I just noticed on this. Look, it says Earth and Space Friendly Packaging. Yeah, I think we can tell. This is old, and you can kind of see it's starting to degrade a little bit, but, I mean, it's still holding together. So, yeah, WALL-E is a fantastic film, and it is sad that we're going closer to a WALL-E-type dystopian future. This one's the last of the Scholastic Video Collection, at least that I've held on to. This one is Pizza Pizza and More William Steig Stories. I used to read this as Pete's Pizza when I was younger. I didn't notice the A there. And sometimes I still do read it as Pete's Pizza. So, it has Pizza Pizza, Dr. DeSoto, The Amazing Bone, as well as The Three Robbers, The Great White Man-Eating Shark, and Moon Man. And all of which are packaged in a lovely red case. Next up, we have V for Vendetta, which I believe this was based on a visual novel series? I'm not sure. Again, amazing film, although I have not seen this in forever. But I remember enjoying this a lot when I did see it. I think this was made by the same people who also did 300. I haven't seen 300 yet, though. Yes, I am familiar with this as Sparta, but I haven't seen 300, and I've only seen this movie once, but it's been a while. So, this is one of those movies that I feel like you could only really ever watch once and never again. This is The Sixth Sense. This is a film, like I said, that has such a huge twist at the end that you really can only watch this once. Also, the case is a little busted. The only other film that I feel like fits this kind of category... Yeah, the disc is a bit loose. The case is busted. The only other film I can think of that fits this category would be... what's it called? Fight Club. But yeah, so I have seen this already. I do still know the ending. I'm not going to spoil it here, but yeah, great film, but one of those things you could only really watch once. Next up we have is Office Space, made by the same person who created Beavis and Butthead and King of the Hill, that being Mike Judge. This film is really funny, actually, and it's all about, like, how, well, I guess the tagline says it best, work sucks. And, yeah, I haven't seen it in a while, but it's still, like, this is a really great movie. Next up, we have one of the best book-to-film adaptations out there, and that is To Kill a Mockingbird. Ignore the stickers. This movie is based on the book of the same name, and is a very, very fateful retelling of that book, as someone who's both seen the movie and read the book. And if you've never watched this movie or you've never read To Kill a Mockingbird, it is ripe. It is a gripping story. A lot of people like to accuse this book of being, like, really racist, and yes, there are racist aspects, but a lot of people tend to forget that this film is supposed to take place in the 1930s, in the South, in the Deep South, and back then people were extremely racist. If anything, the book actually goes against the idea of racism because one of our main characters here, Atticus Finch, defends a black man he knows is innocent. And he's a white lawyer, and back in the 30s, that was, like, blasphemous. You're gonna have hell to pay. So, like, the whole idea of the book was to show that, like, people of color are no different than their white, what's the word? Counterparts, I guess? But you know what I'm saying, right? Like, it's to show that really inside we're no different regardless of the color of our skin, but people can't seem to get past the setting or the time period or, yes, the use of words like the hard ER word. But unlike something like, say, Reservoir Dogs, it makes sense in the context of the film. I mean, yes, it's still a horrible word, and there's a lot of really racist moments, but that's kind of the point. It's a commentary on being racist. It's a commentary on how, in the past, we were horrible people, and how we should do better as a society, and that these small individuals can make a huge difference. Anyway, but yeah, great film. I am so sick and tired of the book constantly getting banned by people who do not understand the commentary, the message, the moral of the story. Next up we have is Pixar's Cars. This is another childhood disc of mine. This movie's okay. Like, it's definitely not one of Pixar's best films, but it's definitely not their worst either. Like, it's pretty fun. They did merch the crap out of this, though. Jesus. Like, and we don't talk about Cars 2. Cars 3 was mid. Cars 2, we just... No. That's the only Pixar film I will actually say is bad. But, oh, it's got some schmutz on it. Ew. But yeah, like, this film's okay. It's not, like, spectacular, but, I mean, I've certainly seen far worse, so, solid. Alright, I think this will be number 3 for best non-Pixar Disney films, and this is The Emperor's New Groove, aka what Deadpool wishes he was. This is a film that's most known for all of its fourth wall breaks, and is hysterical. Like, this film is so great. Let me guess. We're about to go over a giant waterfall? Yep. Huge spiky rocks at the bottom? Probably. Bring it on. Like, me and my brothers would quote this movie all the time growing up. It's iconic. It is iconic. Here's one that has kind of an interesting story. This is Wonder. This is a film I've never even heard of that I literally got for free because one of the clerks at one of the thrift stores I went to was like, oh, here, I see you're buying a bunch of movies. Here, take this one. And I'm like, okay, it's a free movie, I guess. Yeah, I'm guessing what happened is they had a ton of copies of this come in. All still sealed, by the way. Look, see? Still sealed. And I'm guessing they didn't know what to do with it, so they just pawned it off to me. Like, one of them off to me, so, haven't seen it yet. Yeah. Very weird how I got this one. Here's another SpongeBob compilation from around the same time as the other one. This is SpongeBob Halloween, featuring 5 spooky sea tales, plus 5 bubblin' bonus episodes. Another compilation from around the same time. Yep, it says on the bottom there, 2002, so yep. So, it contains Scaredy Pants, Imitation Crabs, Frankendoodle, which in my opinion is the best episode of SpongeBob, I Was a Teenage Gary, that one's pretty infamous, Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, The Secret Box, Band Geeks, which is like everybody's favorite episode, Welcome to the Chum Bucket, My Pretty Seahorse, and Idiot Box, all of which are iconic and meme-worthy in their own right. This one here, this is the original Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory from 1971. I actually didn't get a chance to see this film until I was about 15, which is weird, because, like, my dad grew up in the 70s, so you'd think. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to see this movie until I was about 15 years old, and it was just so fun, you know? I just love these, like, older movies. I feel like a lot of the charm and just the creativity and all that stuff of, like, modern movies just don't exist, basically. And, like, these older films, they have all that charm, the creativity, and part of the fun is that, like, this was back before special effects could all be done on computers. This was pre-Star Wars. So they had to get creative with real set pieces, and it just adds to the experience, you know? Also, there was an infamous moment of this film where there's a car being driven and there's a bunch of, like, suds coming off of it, and, like, all of the actors just puffed up because they used, like, actual detergent. The 70s were wild, bro. Alright, we only got 5 left. Next up is Philadelphia. This movie is depressing. So, it's a film about a gay lawyer who contracts AIDS, and because he's a gay lawyer who got AIDS during a time when AIDS was still seen as a gay disease, he was fired from his law firm, and then he proceeds to sue said law firm for defamation. So, yeah, it's just really sad. This is how we treated both queer folk and people with AIDS back then. It's just sad. I am glad that we live in a better timeline, albeit it seems like we're kind of regressing. Thanks, Trump! Okay, 4 left. In case you can't tell, I like Tom Hanks. Next up is Forrest Gump. I know a lot of people don't like this movie because of its portrayal of people with disabilities. And I do agree that it is pretty dated, but I still think this is a really good and even somewhat inspiring film. Yes, I agree the portrayal of those who are mentally handicapped are indeed very dated and can be seen as somewhat offensive, but I kind of try to look past that and understand that this is from the 90s, back when people didn't care about that as much. And I see it more as a sort of inspirational feel-good movie about how even if you have these disabilities, you can still achieve your dreams. Not gonna disagree though, the disability portrayal is definitely not the best. Okay, this is the last Tom Hanks thing and is easily the biggest box that I have in my collection. This is the complete series for the miniseries Band of Brothers, which is a HBO miniseries all about Easy Company, a paratrooper group, I can't think of what the word is, but like a paratrooper group, who helped fight and win in World War II. This thing is a beast. Hang on a sec, I gotta open it up. Again, this is hard to do one-handed, but check this out. I don't know how well the camera picked that up. It's really hard to do this one-handed because I gotta hold the microphone or you'll constantly hear it rubbing up against my clothes, but it like completely opens up and it has like all 6 discs. It is crazy. It is crazy. And it's all in this really nice metal case, too. Can't believe I got this for $5. Band of Brothers, by the way, fantastic miniseries. Go watch it. Alright, we only got 2 more left, and they're kind of actually related to each other. So this is another childhood one of mine. This is Family Guy Volume 7, aka Season 7. A lot of people consider Season 7 of Family Guy to be like the last good season, although the first episode, Love Actually, is not great. That one I do agree is not the best episode, but the rest of the series, or season, isn't that bad. Yeah, so I consider Season 7 to be the last, like, good season of Family Guy, and then Season 13 is when it officially becomes, like, intolerable. So Seasons 8 through 11 are not great, but they're at least tolerable, like, watchable, and then anything after that is just completely unwatchable. Okay, last one. This is Family Guy Volume 2, Season 3. So this is the entirety of Season 3 of Family Guy, which a lot of people consider to be the last, like, truly good season of Family Guy. I think this was prior to the Fox cancellation. Family Guy's history is wild, and there's some schmutz on there. Yeah, so this comes in, like, a set of 3 of these little discs, and, yeah, it's pretty cool. Especially because, again, this is, like, Season 3 is the last, like, truly great season of Family Guy. Like I said, Seasons 4 through 7 are good, and then Seasons 8 through 12 are okay, and then anything after Season 13 is pretty much intolerable. And there you have it. That is, as of right now, all of the movies and shows that I have on physical media. I want to thank you guys for watching. I'm going to go ahead and skip the outfit of the week this week because this episode took so long to film. I've been kneeling on my floor for about the past, like, at least hour and a half. I'm tired. I think I might also still sound kind of sick. I've been getting over a really nasty, like, head and throat cold. So I'm just gonna go ahead and skip this week's outfit of the week. So yeah, I'm exhausted. I need to go eat something. Just bleh. Anyway, I want to thank you guys all for watching. Peace, love, pretend my other hand's there, and Roxy, and I'll see you guys next week. Okay,